Hey,
Welcome!
business vocabulary in use.
Learn English. Grow your future. Let's learn together.
And welcome back to the Super Saya Fish English Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Super Saya Fish English Podcast. Abby and I are your hosts, and today we open Unit 1 of Business Vocabulary in Use, Intermediate.
Hi everyone, I'm Abby. This first unit is called Work and Jobs, and it belongs to Season 1, Jobs, People, and Organizations.
By the end of this episode, you will be able to ask and answer, what do you do? Talk about what you are in charge of, describe your responsibilities, and name different types of job. Our format is simple. First, Abby and I read the textbook aloud. Then we teach every key word with real examples, so it really sticks.
Let's get started.
Unit 1, Part A, What do you do? To find out what someone's job is, you ask, what do you do? Kirsten talks about her job. I work for a large European car maker. I work on car design. In fact, I run the design department and I manage a team of designers, 20 people work under me. It's very interesting. One of my main responsibilities is to make sure that new model designs are finished on time. I'm also in charge of design budgets. I deal with a lot of different people in the company. I'm responsible for coordination between design and production. I work with managers at our manufacturing plants. Note, in charge of is followed by a noun. Responsible for is followed by a verb with ing. Responsibility can be followed by the infinitive or ing. You say, one of my responsibilities is to make sure that. Or, one of my responsibilities is making sure that. You do not say, I'm a responsible.
Let's break part it down phrase by phrase, because almost every word here is one you will use to describe your own job. The first phrase is work for. It points to your employer, the company or person that pays you. Kirsten says, I work for a large European car maker. You could also say, I work for a startup, I work for the government. Or, if you are self-employed, I work for myself.
Next is work on. This is not about your employer, but about the specific project or task you put your time and effort into. Kirsten says, I work on car design. A programmer might say, I'm working on a new app, and a student might say, I'm working on my thesis this month. So remember the contrast. You work for a company, but you work on a project. The little preposition carries the whole meaning.
Now two verbs that show seniority. Run and manage. Run means you are in control of a whole department or business. Kirsten runs the design department. You could also say she runs her own restaurant, or he runs the marketing team. Manage is close, but it focuses more on leading people. Kirsten manages a team of designers. You can manage staff, manage a team, or manage a project from start to finish.
Here are the two phrases learners mix up the most: in charge of and responsible for. In charge of is followed by a noun. Kirsten is in charge of design budgets. You might be in charge of the London office or in charge of the new product launch. Responsible for is usually followed by a verb with ing. Kirsten is responsible for coordinating design and production. You could be responsible for training new staff or responsible for checking the numbers.
That verb, coordinate, deserves its own moment. To coordinate means to organize different people or parts so that they work together smoothly. The noun is coordination. Kirsten is responsible for coordination between design and production. In any office you might hear, we need better coordination between sales and support.
Then the noun responsibilities, which means your duties, the things you are in charge of. Kirsten says, one of my main responsibilities is to make sure new designs are finished on time. Notice you can follow it with to plus a verb or with an ing verb. In a job interview you might say, my responsibilities include managing the schedule and reporting to the director.
The last phrase in Part A is deal with, meaning to handle or take care of a person, a task, or a problem. Kirsten deals with a lot of different people in the company. In real life, a project manager deals with clients, suppliers, and the boss all in one day, and a customer service team has to deal with complaints.
Part B, Word combinations with work. If you work or have work, you have a job. But you do not say that someone has the work. Work is also the place where you do your job. You do not say, for example, at the work or to the work. Here are some phrases with work. Frank talks about his job. I work in a bank in New York City. I leave for work at 7:30 every morning. I go to work by train and subway. I get to work, or arrive at work, at about 9. I'm usually at work till 6. Luckily, I don't get ill very much, so I don't often take time off work, away from work due to illness.
Part B is full of small phrases with the word work that learners often get wrong, so let's slow right down. First, in work means you have a job, and out of work means you do not have one. You often hear these in the news. More people are in work than ever before, or he was out of work for 6 months after the factory closed.
Now the commute, step by step, and every step uses work. You leave for work when you go out of the house to start your journey. Frank leaves for work at 7:30 every morning. You might say, I usually leave for work before the traffic gets bad. You go to work by some means of transport. Frank goes to work by train and subway. Other people go to work by bike, by car, or on foot.
When you reach the office, you get to work or arrive at work. Frank gets to work at about 9. Be careful. Get to work has a second meaning, which is to start doing a task. If your boss says, let's get to work, they mean let's start. Once you are there, you are at work. Frank is usually at work till 6. Remember, you do not say at the work, just at work.
And the phrase everyone loves, take time off work, meaning to have days away from your job, usually for illness or a holiday. Frank says, I don't often take time off work, meaning he rarely misses a day. You might say, I'm taking 2 days off work next week for a wedding.
Part C, Types of Job and Types of Work. A full-time job is one for the whole of the normal working week. A part-time job is for less time than that. You say that someone works full-time or part-time. A permanent job does not finish after a fixed period. A temporary job finishes after a fixed period. You talk about temporary work and permanent work.
Part C gives us 4 words that describe the shape of a job, and they come in 2 pairs. The first pair is about hours, full-time and part-time. A full-time job covers the whole normal working week. A part-time job is fewer hours than that. You can use them as adjectives or as adverbs. She has a full-time job, or she works full-time. He has a part-time job, or he works part-time at the weekend.
The second pair is about time limits, permanent and temporary. A permanent job does not finish after a fixed period. It continues until you decide to leave. After graduation, many people look for a permanent, full-time job. A temporary job finishes after a fixed period. A shop might hire temporary staff for the holiday season, or a company might bring someone in on a temporary contract to cover for a colleague on leave.
Notice that the 2 pairs can combine. You might have a permanent full-time job, a permanent part-time job, or a temporary part-time job. And temporary work is not a bad thing. It is often a step into a permanent role. Now it is your turn. The book asks, what do you do? What are you in charge of? And what are your responsibilities? If you are not working yet, answer for a job you would like to have.
Let me model an answer. I work for a small design studio. I'm in charge of social media, and I'm responsible for planning our weekly posts. I manage a team of 2.
Nice. Try saying your own version out loud 3 times. That is the end of episode 1, Work and Jobs. We covered asking about jobs, work for and work on, run and manage, being in charge of and responsible for, your responsibilities, coordination, deal with, word combinations with work, and types of job like full-time, part-time, permanent, and temporary.
Next time we move to Unit 2, ways of working, flexitime, shifts, working from home, and more. Before you go, stay with us for the audio review, where Fish will test you on 16 key phrases.
Item 1. Meaning, the company or person that pays you. What is the phrase? The answer is work for. Example, I work for a large European car maker. Item 2. Meaning, to spend your time and effort on a project or task. What is the phrase? The answer is work on. Example, I work on car design. Item 3, meaning, to be in control of a department or a business. Which verb? The answer is run. Example, I run the design department. Item 4, meaning, to be the boss of a group of people. What verb? The answer is manage. Example, I manage a team of designers. Item 5, meaning, responsible for something, followed by a noun. What phrase? The answer is in charge of. Example, I'm in charge of design budgets. Item 6, meaning, having a duty to do something, followed by a verb with ing. What phrase? The answer is responsible for. Example, I'm responsible for coordination between design and production. Item 7, meaning, your duties or the things you are in charge of. What noun? The answer is responsibilities. Example, one of my main responsibilities is to make sure designs are finished on time. Item 8, meaning, to organize different people or parts so they work together. What noun? The answer is coordination. Example, we need better coordination between sales and support. Item 9, meaning, to handle or take care of people or problems. What phrase? The answer is deal with. Example, I deal with clients and suppliers every day. Item 10, meaning, you have a job. What 2 words? The answer is in work. Example, more people are in work than ever before. Item 11, meaning, you do not have a job. What phrase? The answer is out of work. Example, he was out of work for 6 months. Item 12, meaning, to leave home to go to your job. What phrase? The answer is leave for work. Example, I leave for work at 7:30 every morning. Item 13, meaning, to arrive at your place of work. What phrase? The answer is get to work or arrive at work. Example, I get to work at about 9. Item 14, meaning, to take days away from your job, often because of illness. What phrase? The answer is take time off work. Example, luckily, I don't often take time off work. Item 15, meaning, a job for the whole normal week that does not finish after a fixed period. What 2 words? The answer is permanent full-time. Example, after graduation, she found a permanent full-time job. Item 16, meaning, a job with fewer hours that finishes after a fixed period. What 2 words? The answer is temporary part-time. Example, he took a temporary part-time job over the holidays. And that wraps up our audio review. If you got most of those 16 items right, you have really locked in Unit 1.
Your homework is simple. Say your over to you answer out loud 3 times before the next episode, and try to use in charge of or responsible for in a real sentence this week.
If today's episode helped you, hit subscribe so new units show up in your feed automatically. And if any word we covered is still unclear, leave us a comment. We read every single one.
Next time on the Super Saya Fish English podcast, we open Unit 2, Ways of Working, Flexitime, Shifts, Working from Home, and the words that describe how modern teams actually work.
This is Fish.
And I'm Abby.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you in Unit 2. Bye for now.